Sorry for the audio problem there, or lack thereof for that matter, but here we are, the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Let's take a look at the fast times. Well, before we do that, the race details. Very important part of tonight's event. 75 laps the distance, 65% fuel on board, 2 sets of tires over the wall, 1 faster pair, and 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Weather-wise, we're at 71 degrees, 73% humidity, clear skies, a 13-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp cool at 79. Not likely to be too much of a factor here this evening. Fast times so far, Ben Smith the fastest to this point. And it's Blake Hochschild, Michael Thorne, Jason Aranchak, and Darren Jones. Again, these are all drafting times. You'll see much slower times in single-car runs and qualifying here in about a minute and a half. Yeah, Dustin in the chat asked, are you talking? I was, but I was the only one hearing it. There's this thing called a mute button that I neglected to push, so yeah, we all make mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, Dustin informed me that there's a name in here, Scott Ford Jr. He's actually the race controller tonight. He joined as a driver, so we had to bust his stones a little bit. And of course, as soon as I say I'm going to bust on him a little bit, I have the mute button pushed. But I think we're good now. Less than 30 seconds remain in the session. We'll get right into qualifying thereafter. Take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Focusing on our 12 championship drivers, Raymond Hanneman, 1584. That is Brandon Moore. Matt Sisler, Jason Blaney, Jim Treat, the top 5 in the standings. Blake Hochschild, 6th. Chris Stange, Wesley Jeanette, Johnny DePasquale, 9th. Chris Pieria, 10th. Austin Walton, 11th. Tom Janikowski shown in the 12th spot. Our practice session in the books as Wesley Jeanette crosses the stripe. And that'll do it for our practice session. Looks like Ken Lowry will be first to the Speedway to begin his qualifying effort. It's going to take at least a full lap to get these cars up to full speed. But that doesn't necessarily mean that lap 2 on the clock will be faster. Some cases it can be. Others, depending on the line that you run around this place in qualifying, lap 1 could potentially be quicker. Keep an eye on Vincent Short for this run. Especially in qualifying, he's typically very quick on these super speedways. Lowry into the trial here to complete lap 1. Or start lap 1 for that matter. Now Lowry through the tri-oval will cross start finish, complete his first lap, locking a time here from Talladega Super Speedway. Lap 1 in the books, 54:059. And quickly, Wesley Jeanette takes over the top spot. We'll go over to Vincent Short, see where he lands on lap 1. He's 4th fast, 54.085 for the number 15. Keep an eye on this. We'll watch this second lap, see if he picks it up here. Want to make note here in the timing tower, yet again, our championship drivers, top 12 in the standings, will be indicated in the timing tower by a yellow number. You see Wesley Jeanette so far, the only driver in those top 12 to turn a lap. And I've noticed here, Short running 5th gear. The last drivers we saw, they were 4th gear. We'll see if this yields a quick lap for the 15 machine. I really think it's not going to be the best way to go, but he's got more time behind the wheel than I do as of late, and we'll see if it is enough to put him on pole. It doesn't sound fast, but we'll see in just a moment. Vince is just now getting decked to start-finish. Lap 2. Identical to his first. Now Jason Aranchak. Johnny DePasquale now on the provisional pole, but not for long as Tom Janikowski knocks him off. Gets under 54 seconds, 53.989 for the 93. .55.454 for Aranchak puts him 18th. Another lap to go. While Kerwin Marshall on the Speedway. Time to beat 53.989. That's Tommy Janikowski, fastest so far with just about a minute remaining. Marshall seems to be kind of floating around in the corner there a little bit. Not what I would expect to see on these super speedways, but see what kind of lap he lays down here as we got 30 seconds left in this session. Time session of 5 minutes or 2 laps, whatever is completed first as Marshall crosses the stripe. 20th quick, 54.117. Janikowski hanging on to the provisional pole for now. Derek Buckaloo yet to make a time. Not to make a lap at all in this session. Got Darren Jones in the chat earlier, says happy 217 day. Of course, Jones driving the 217. His time expires. Marshall not able to get lap 2 in. So that'll do it for qualifying. That'll put Tom Janikowski on the pole position. So let's take a look at it. Our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 53.989 seconds. The only driver to crack a 53 seconds plus lap. It's Johnny DePasquale now to the outside, 49 thousandths shy. Row number 2 will be Juan Linares and Wesley Jeanette. Raymond Hanneman will roll off in row number 3 with John Kelly. Row 4 will be Carson Youngblood and Ken Lowry. Row 5 belongs to Ben Smith, fastest in practice, and Scott Stockel. Starting 11th, Brandon Moore, and then 12th place will be Jackson West. 13th starter, Michael Thorne. 14th goes to Vincent Short, the 5th gear lap. Not the fastest, but not the worst either. 15th starter will be Blake Hochschild. 16th goes to Jim Treat. Jason Blaney, 17th. Austin Boyum will be 18th. Tommy Pulte will start 19th. 20th belongs to Kerwin Marshall. Matt Sisler will roll off 21st. 22nd belongs to Jason Aranchak. Nathan Line, 23rd. 24th is Chris Pieria. Darren Jones, 25th. Derek Buckaloo, 26th. And shown last, don't worry about Scott Ford. He's just the race control tonight. Just forgot to join as a spectator. No worries, we'll let it slide. Your starting grid here for the Fueled Up 200. Field getting set here on the grid. A couple of drivers still late to the grid here. It appears John Kelly, Jim Treat, Matt Sisler, Nathan Line, Chris Pieria. Got to get you all gridded up here so we can get things underway. Well, we have a moment. Schedule upcoming, season winding down. We've got Talladega Superspeedway, of course, right now, here and now, tonight on Track Limits Network. Next week, Watkins Glen International. The race will be run Tuesday, but I will be out of town for a while. We're going to try and break that one in when I get back on Sunday afternoon. We're looking at about 3 o'clock, depending on when my flight lands. Then March 3rd at Darlington, 3:10. We'll go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, then Gateway on St. Patrick's Day. Close out the season on March 24th from Nashville Super Speedway. Thank the sponsors as well: ZeroX Media and Design, Admin Box, Snowbelt Industries, Youngblood Racing, and of course, our title sponsor tonight, Fueled Up. Field rolling off of turn number 2. One pace lap, that's all before we get underway. It's going to be Tom Janikowski with the pole, with Johnny DePasquale shown to the outside. Lead the field to green here. Taking a look at the race details again one more time. 75 laps the distance, a 65% fuel load on board. 2 sets of tires over the wall, 1 fast repair. That is a change from typical. These super speedways, they do a lot 1 fast repair in case something chaotic happens on the start and we wad up the whole field. And then 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish, only if we need it. Weather-wise, looking beautiful out there. 71 degrees, 71% humidity, partly cloudy skies now. 12-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp up just a touch at 80 degrees, but again, should not play a factor at all this evening. Pace cars headed to pit lane. Janikowski, DePasquale on the front row. Got to get all the way through this trial before we really get things underway. You see that restart zone pretty much right where the start-finish line would be at Daytona. Start-finish here is just past pit exit. Green flag called for. We are racing from Talladega Super Speedway. Field cleanly off turn number 2, still double file all the way down the backstretch. Wesley Jeanette with a monster push to the back bumper of Johnny D. They're both going to slot down in front of pole sitter Tom Janikowski and take over the top 2 spots as they barrel down into turns 3 and 4. John Kelly, a newcomer here in the number 25, leads the outside lane with Ken Lowry pushing. Back down to the line. DePasquale is going to lead lap number 1, but the outside lane making some hay. Up to third now and nose up to second spot. John Kelly taking it over. Looking awful aggressive here in the first lap or 2 here at Talladega Super Speedway. These guys got to be careful. It's amazing what a fast repair will do to your mentality as far as how aggressive you're willing to be. You know you've got that reset button to use if something gets terribly wrong. As John Kelly now will snake it down to the inside lane, takes over the race lead, but now Ken Lowry wants a piece of that himself with the 5 of Scott Stockel in behind. Too much separation, it looks like, from the 5 back to the 76 of West, but now Lowry will slot down in front of the inside lane. John Kelly now in tow. John Kelly has gone from the race lead back now to the 7th position, all with this drafting going on here at the Speedway. Now a driver way out of line below the yellow line down the backstretch. Cannot improve your position down there. Got to be careful. Wesley Jeanette, I think, Fueled Up Motorsports car further back in the pack. Swapping lanes considerably there. Now way up the top in front of Jason Blaney, in behind the 85 of Raymond Hanneman. Dustin in the chat says, that's right. That's why I don't like giving fast repairs. I agree. But again, at the super speedways, I see why a lot of leagues do it, because you kind of euchre yourself. You get a big wreck at lap 2 or 3, takes out 3/4 of the field, and now you got 10 cars out there running for 75 laps. It could get a little scary. So I don't blame you on that. I would do the same thing. Got William Marshall in the chat, says, my money's on Kerwin Marshall. Thanks for checking in, William. Sandra Nielsen, of course. Get on up. Why? Might be a typo there, but either way, Sandra Nielsen, a loyal follower and chatter here at Track Limits Network, helping these boys out. It's Kerwin Marshall now with the race lead, quickly to the top spot. The 4 has just knifed his way through this field. He started 20th and now leads this race just 4 laps in. Wow, where did he come from? Marshall comfortable out in front ahead of Stockel, West, Aranchak, and now Buckaloo. Speaking of guys on the move big time here, Derek Buckaloo up 21 positions. He started, I think it was almost last, didn't make a run in qualifying, opted to go to the back. Usually when guys do that, that's just to kind of run back there, take care of your stuff, protect the race car for the better part of, say, 70% of the race, and then make your move to the front. I guess he didn't want to wait because he's up in the second spot there in front of Raymond Hanneman. Kerwin Marshall trying to block both lanes, got to control top and bottom if you want to maintain that race lead. Again, I still think it's a little early for that kind of behavior, but I guess you got to get the practice in at some point. Nothing beats real-life competition. You can't necessarily achieve the same results in a practice session. These guys might be trying to feel things out for later on in the race, but now Derek Buckaloo from the back of the pack to the top spot. Buckaloo did indeed start last, 26th position. Do not count 27th Scott Ford. What a run for the 81. Now if he can just make it last all the way to the finish. Top 10, 12 cars, single file now, starting to settle into a rhythm. Everybody seems to have their dancing partners. Buckaloo there just inches ahead of the 85 of Raymond Hanneman. Let's go on board. I think he's close enough. On board with Hanneman. Really shows the limited visibility you have in the draft here on these super speedways, tucked right up to the back bumper of Derek Buckaloo on corner entry. You really just have to trust that the guy ahead of you is making the right decisions, because things can come undone in a hurry. Three of our championship contenders running inside the top 5. That's Ray Hanneman, Wesley Jeanette, Johnny DePasquale. Jason Blaney now up into the 7th spot, another contender. Then Chris Pieria to 10th. He's up 14 positions. He's not wasting time either. Jim Treat up to 13th. Blake Hochschild 20th. Pole sitter Janikowski back to 21st. Brandon Moore 22nd. And Matt Sisler once again working on this strategy at the back of the pack. Dead last right now, down 5 spots from the start, just trying to take care of that race car. Ken Lowry, who led a little bit earlier on in the race, back to 16th now. Now a change for the lead. Or not so much. Derek Buckaloo continues to lead. Hanneman still right in the tire tracks. Now here's the problem for Buckaloo. Over the course of a run, he's going to have to pit, I don't know, anywhere between 2 to 4 laps sooner than these guys that are tucked up in the draft. Reason being is he's got to keep his right foot planted on the floor here just to maintain pace to stay out in front. Well, everybody in tow there, they can lift. They can run probably 60, 70% throttle in some cases and still maintain the same amount of pace as the race leader. So, of course, Buckaloo in that top spot is going to burn fuel very quickly in comparison. Something to keep an eye on here. Again, a 65% fuel load tonight. Not sure what that translates to lap-wise. Dustin, if you've got that, why don't you drop it in the chat, let us know, and the fans out there watching. Man, it's incredible to me. The first 5 laps of this race, it looked like the last 5 laps are going to be. And now all of a sudden, everybody gets minding their own P's and Q's here, being real careful. Single file pretty much all the way back to dead last Matt Sisler. You want to talk about a freight train. There it is. Top 3 getting away just a touch from Kerwin Marshall. On board with a lonely Matt Sisler. He's checking up quite a bit. Really out of the gas, saving a lot of fuel. Got to be careful not to get pulled too far back. If he loses the draft, this strategy is not going to work. Currently about 3.5 tenths off the back bumper of Michael Thorne. Meanwhile, out front still, Derek Buckaloo continues to lead. Dustin in the chat says, I think about 25 to 26 laps. These guys keep running single file. We're going to find out exactly how far they can go. So we're definitely going to catch them round the green flag stops if they keep it up like this. Some of you might think, why are they running single file? Why aren't they racing? Well, they're racing. It's just a different kind of racing. It is the ZeroX strategy series after all. There is a bigger picture to look at here. It's not always about who's the fastest guy. Yeah, being quick's important, but you got to make the right decisions out there. Obviously, tire's not going to be much of a concern here tonight. In fact, I would venture a guess to see some guys may not take tires at all over the course of this 75 laps. But fuel is going to be very important. With the fuel window being about 25 or 26 laps, you really need to focus on Derek Buckaloo. If he's as dominant as he looks right now, his laps are going to be a lot less, I think, than that 25-26, which means he will likely need one extra stop if this runs green all the way to the end. Of course, a caution going to change all of that, which here at Talladega Superspeedway, I would expect to see one at least, if not a couple here, especially in the latter stages. But fingers crossed. Green to checker without a yellow. That'd be great to see. In fact, I think Dustin. I'm losing it. Dustin put some money on the line for a caution-free race, and I think I said I would match it. I forget how much it was, but Dustin, if you're still down, I'm still down. So far, still clean and green. Buckaloo with the lead. Swaps lanes just a bit. Maybe trying to help get some fresh air on the nose of Raymond Hanneman. Engine temperatures can spike just a touch if you're too close to the back bumper in front of you. Things nice and calm still here in the ZeroX Strategy Series Field Up 200. Dustin in the chat says it was $10. Let's do it. Random draw, 2 drivers, $10 each. I'm in. Let's do it. Just let me know where to send the PayPal to. Of course, they got to do it first, but I believe in you guys. You can do it. Tell you the way they're running right now, they absolutely could do it. The way they were running those first 5 laps, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. Hanneman still all over the back bumper of Buckaloo here. I don't know if Derek and Hanneman here have got a plan worked out, because it seems like not just Hanneman, but everybody content just riding single file right now. But Hanneman's still pretty aggressively pushing Buckaloo. That may be helping his cause, at least as far as Derek's fuel strategy is concerned. It seems every time they get on the straightaway, Hanneman tucks right to that back bumper. He's able to burst that bubble there, that little bubble of air to the back bumper of Buckaloo. I wonder if he's checking up at all, and he does continue to keep making some space to get some cool air on the nose of Hanneman's car. This might be a strategy play, as now I think patience going out the window. Outside lane starting to move. Nathan Line up to 6th as there's 4 cars up top. Buckaloo trying to make a decision. Do I block that run? It's coming pretty fast. Nathan Line up to 2nd. Now challenges and goes around for the race lead. These guys decided it's time. I'm going to get moving here, and they might just be positioning themselves here for pit stops, trying to be out front. Don't want to be in the middle of the pack when they have to roll off the throttle and get on the brakes for pit lane. This is not necessarily a bad play here. I kind of like this. So now Nathan Lyne jumps out to the race lead. Now Brandon Moore to the outside. Ken Lowry pushing. Buckaloo said, let's just call the race now after he made the announcement. Yeah, it looks a little rainy off of 4. Real big black cloud rolling in. Brandon Moore now taking his opportunity to put the 3 machine in the front of the field. Coming to lap 23, I think Buckaloo really kind of needed that to happen the way that it did. It now gives him a chance here in the draft. Granted, he's about 5 car lengths back from those top 4 drivers, but he's at least getting a little bit of vacuum there at the nose of his number 81 to save some fuel. He's made it 23 laps thus far, led quite a few. To be specific, Buckaloo has led 15 laps tonight. Pit crews getting set for the first round of green flag stops here at Talladega Super Speedway. When will they pull off to come to the attention to their fuelers and potentially tire changers? Again, I don't think they're going to change tires. I just don't see the need for it. The Daytona, a little less banking, slightly shorter in length, handling a little bit more of a premium than it is here at Talladega. I really believe that you can run this race without changing a single set. Talked about it a bunch over the course of Super Speedway races here on the broadcast that typically, again, Daytona being a somewhat exception, tires don't do much for you here other than kind of give you a little bit more maneuverability. If you want to make those abrupt lane changes late in the race to try and take advantage, full advantage of the run that you can build to take those positions or potentially the race win late, can help you there, but it's definitely not going to do anything for lap time. 24 laps complete as the field rolls on through the tri-oval here. Oh, little connection issue for Brandon Moore. A couple of times there he saw him blink out. Not good timing for the 3. Don't want to have that happen as soon as you get on the brakes headed to pit lane. Got to be careful here. Ken Lowry certainly aware of that safety concern. Doesn't want to dump his teammate when they come onto pit lane. And are they coming down now? Indeed they are. Half the field going to roll down into pit lane here. The other half stays out for another extra lap. Brandon Moore going to lead the field down. 1, 2, 3, say about 10 cars, maybe more. Let's say we'll call it 13. We got Tozer Dozer. He makes a good point. This can also be important for restarts. But remember, we're aiming for a caution-free race, so let's not talk about that sort of thing. Quick pit stops, 12 seconds plus for most of these guys, 13 seconds for some, as Jason Aranchak will now lead them down into pit lane. Oh, a little lockup there. Everybody keeps it straight for the most part as Janikowski jumps up to the lead spot with that slight mistake from Aranchak. Didn't catch if anybody put rights on in that pit stop with that full fuel run. They probably had time to at least put rights on. We'll see if any of these drivers do the same. Not for Janikowski. Doesn't appear anybody going to put tires on, at least on this first stop. So we're third distance here at Talladega, but drivers headed back out. Slow stop for Janikowski. Slow-ish. 12.42 seconds as Jim Treat's going to beat him out. He's going to have the lead for now, but the field at speed that pit the previous lap, they're coming with a head of steam here into turns 1 and 2. Brandon Moore going to lead the charge around. And it's just him and Hanneman right now. So even those two cars drafted up together, they're not going to have as much speed as a bigger pack of cars in line behind. But with these drivers exiting pit lane, they're coming up to speed too. They're going to likely be able to sniff the draft pretty well here. But even more interesting, this has separated the field considerably. You got two distinct packs making their pit stops under green flag conditions. Everybody got pretty well separated as we've got about an 8-car draft here at the front of the field. One lone soldier in the middle will have to either catch or get caught. I think that's Jim Treat. Yeah, it is Jim Treat, the 367 Toyota Camry. Going to get run down in a hurry here by Jackson West. This is for 9th and 10th, but he'll have the run. He's just going to go to the top. Marshall's going to stay with Jim Treat. Jackson tried to throw a little side draft on Jim Treat to try and at least get around and get ahead. And some more connection issues for some drivers. I think it was Juan Linares. No, that was Treat. Treat lost a few spots there. He's back to 13th. The move for Jackson West to go to the outside did eventually pay off. Now Matt Sisler up into 11th. Remember, he was dead last prior to the pit stops. So we've pretty much got, well, we'll call it 3 packs. There's a couple of lone soldiers back there. I think Aranchak might be one of them. Let's see if we can find him. And indeed it is. Aranchak there with the 26 at Tommy Pulte. Tommy's all over the back bumper of Aranchak. I don't think he's trying to rough him up. He's just trying to say, come on, man, we got to go. We don't have any help. We got to get as much speed out of this as possible. Darren Jones is back there with a 4-car draft. Ben Smith, Wesley Jeanette, Chris Pieria in tow. Jeanette was really fast early. I don't know if he had a problem on his pit stop. It was a longer pit stop, 13.38 seconds in comparison, but looks like Ben Smith was 14.73. That's enough for 4 tires. I don't know if he took them or not. Unfortunately, iRacing does not provide that data to me. Wish it could. Well, it can, but it doesn't. Comparative lap times, Aranchak and Pulte ran a 50.2 and a 49.4 to the leader's 49.9. So honestly, those two drivers drafted up together, running pretty solid lap times, but you just have to wonder how much fuel save is going on for the leaders right now. You were watching the Daytona 500 here just a couple of days ago. Some of those guys were running qualifying pace laps during the race, if not even slower, trying to save as much fuel as humanly possible. The problem is, not really a problem, but the whole field was doing it, so I guess it works out. I would just love to see a few guys just hammer down when that's happening, at least in the real Cup races. Say, you know what? The heck with your fuel save, I'm going for it. May bite them in the end, but it'd be fun to watch. Tozer Dozer, I love that name. I don't know why, but I do. My little ADD brain just kicking in there, but either way, chat's a little slow tonight, guys. This is not up to par for what I'm used to seeing out of the ZeroX fan base. You guys are usually really good. They're still better than most, but chat it up, guys. We need stuff to talk about. Juan Linares now making a move to the outside lane. Johnny DiPasquale and Ken Lowry in tow, and it looks like Jim Treat there as well. So a little bit of field shuffling here at the back straightaway. 32 laps in, almost halfway here from Talladega. Top 5, 33 laps in. It's Brandon Moore, Raymond Hanneman, Derek Buckaloo from the last place starting position in third. Juan Linares now fourth. Fifth now Johnny DePasquale as the field continues to shuffle around. Derek Buckaloo going back to the race lead. Big time push there from Linares. Little off center. Got to be careful. Don't want to turn that guy. Buckaloo now back to the race lead. Drops it down to the low side of the track. Linares goes with him. Brandon Moore now to the third car in line on the bottom. Johnny DePasquale, the lead driver in the middle lane, as the outside starting to form up. Only a couple of drivers there. It's Jim Treat. Oh, and we got trouble. DePasquale hard into the wall into turn number one. Big time wreck. Janikowski is in it. Vincent Short slowly working his way through. I don't know if he got a piece of it or not. Well, there goes the $10 or $20. And it's funny because the question I was going to bring up about Watkins Glen next week being my home track, I'm only about an hour and 15 minutes from there. Do I have anything special planned? Well, I don't necessarily know if I have anything special planned just because it's going to be hard for me to do much of anything. I've got the overlays kind of preset because I'm going to land, drive home, and then immediately get into my rig and get this thing going. But I don't know. Watkins Glen's just a fun place. But typically a lot of the leagues don't have full course cautions turned on for the Glen, so I don't know, Dustin, does that count as a caution-free race if they're not turned on? I mean, I'm willing to go with it just to say that we did it. That's up to you. So let's see if we can find a replay of this. We know Johnny D was involved. Let's see how bad the damage is. I mean, it doesn't look good, but it doesn't look as bad as it looked in the wreck. See if we can catch a replay. Here we go. So see the one, the blue and black on the outside, and just pushing the pusher there gets everybody crossed up, and it was off center too with Lowry. Certainly not intentional, but what are you going to do? Multiple cars involved in this. Janikowski, Jim Treat, Kelly, DePasquale. I'm sure I'm missing some others there. You see Hochschild trying to snake his way down on the bottom, and I don't think Short was involved officially. Might have snaked his way through. Let's take another look here. Watch the 15. It's coming up the back bumper there, Nathan Lyons. Sees things starting to unfold. Oh, he might have caught a tiny piece of the 38, but I don't think anything else. Janikowski slides up in front and just barely misses the right rear as Tommy's sliding down the racetrack. So pit road open. Field's going to roll down here, likely to top off some fuel. Buckaloo and Linares stays out. We got Seth Fallon in the chat. Says, how's Marshall looking so far tonight? Well, if he's talking about Kerwin Marshall, he's led some laps. He's shown some pace. It's currently 16th, 17th, whatever it is, but pit stop's underway. It's all going to have to shuffle back out here in a few minutes. It looks like fuel only for everybody yet again. I do want to go back to the onboard camera here with Vincent Short once we get everybody out of pit lane. There we go. All right, so go back to this caution just a moment ago. Now we're on board with Vincent Short. Watch the right side of your screen up top. There's the smoke. Man, I think Vince might have just missed Nathan there. What a drive for Vincent Short to avoid this. I want to see it from his point of view. At full speed. I'm through, Harry. I had to say it. Robert Duvall passing away just a couple of days ago, actually, ironically, on the date of the Daytona 500. Dustin in the chat says, nope, I told him now that 2 random drivers owe us $10. I like it. Well, caution number 1 here at Talladega Super Speedway. Almost said Daytona. A couple of laps shy of halfway. Should get the 1 to go signal this time by, but man, really impressed with Derek Buckaloo here tonight. Started dead last, didn't even bother turning a lap in qualifying, and I think it was about lap 4. He was up into the top 3, and very shortly after took over the race lead. Tozer Dozer says restart time. So yes, exactly a good point here, Tozer Dozer. Still, I don't think anybody, maybe a couple of drivers, nobody's taken tires with the slight exceptions, but see if anybody spins the tires here coming up through the gears on the restart. We may end up with a second caution if that happens. Cross our fingers that that's not the case. But yeah, tape delayed broadcast for Watkins Glen. Again, you guys are going to run that race here on the 24th. It'll be March 1st. Fingers crossed I don't get delayed at the airport. About, I think, 3 p.m. we'll try to get things rolling. So if you're planning on tuning in, plan on about 3 p.m. If anything drastic happens, I'll be sure to let Dustin know what's going on. He can let everybody else know that we'll be further delayed, because I do have a live broadcast that evening as well. So we're going to try and shoehorn 2 of those in at a minimum. It could even be 3, depending, because we still have to get the IROC Challenge Series in. Of course, IROC running on exclusive tape delay until ZeroX Strategy Series season wraps up. They run at the same time. In fact, they're running right now. If you're interested in watching the IROC Challenge Series, I believe we've got some big names running that race tomorrow night. Dale Earnhardt Jr. being one of them. And I believe Tim Duggar might be making a cameo appearance. That's a tentative name. We'll see. Could even have Carson Kvapil join the IROC Series. A lot of those guys will be on limited bases, but that's a lot of the reason why the night switched from Mondays to Tuesdays. Of course, if it rains on the Cup weekends, none of those guys would be able to run. Field approaching the restart zone.
Ready, green flag.
And there it is, green flag back in the air. Buckaloo with a good restart, but a good reaction out of the outside lane. Juan Linares, typically that's a death sentence in that second place restart position, but he's making it work with Ken Lowry. But no, up the racetrack, Buckaloo is going to take that position and slow that lane down. And now Brandon Moore's there without a buddy. And distance in the rearview mirror as well. That's kind of the perfect situation there for Derek Buckaloo. Tozer Dozer, we got away with the restart without a major issue. Buckaloo will continue to lead, seemingly the dominant car tonight. One of the few drivers willing to run out in front. Top 3 starting to get away. It's Buckaloo, Linares, and Vincent Short has found himself into the top 3. Started 14th. Kerwin Marshall making some moves further back in the pack. He's shown an 18th. Just swap lanes in behind Raymond Hanneman. That's a good one to follow. Now Nathan Lyon puts the challenge on Derek Buckaloo. Wants that top spot, and Johnny DePasquale, after the fast repair, still in the hunt, up to second. Johnny's one of the championship contenders. He wants to make a go of this. Now Jason Blaney looks to the inside, but the top two close the door abruptly. Fueled up 1, 2, and 3. Dozer says, I vote double or nothing on that $10 if they go to the checkered without another, including the last lap. Dustin, what do you think? I'm your Huckleberry. I'm in. And to answer your question, Dozer, no, they cannot make it to the finish right now. We'll take a look here. Pull up the strategies. They went 25 to 26 laps, exactly what Dustin mentioned earlier. That's the fuel run. So without further cautions, they're going to need to make one more stop if this goes green to the end. So Nathan Lyon now with the race lead. Hanneman swaps lanes back to the bottom in behind Jason Blaney. So it's fueled up 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom lane. Buckaloo trying to find a way. Buckaloo's got Tommy Pulte now in tow. Same with Scott Stockel. Dustin goes, Dozer's idea, Dozer pays. I like that too. 43 laps in here. We are going to step aside for our one and only official break during the race. It'll be a side-by-side break, so you guys don't miss a minute of the action. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway now, 29 laps to go with one more pit stop definitely coming. The question is when. Nathan Line continues to lead over three championship contenders. Johnny DePasquale, Jason Blaney, and Raymond Hanneman in fourth. Stockel runs fifth, then it's Vincent Short, Derek Buckaloo, Blake Hochschild, Tommy Pulte, and Wesley Jeanette rounding out the top 10. But for now Smith up into the 10th spot. Sparks still flying here at Talladega Superspeedway. This car slammed down to the racetrack. Derek Buckaloo now 7th. Leads the outside lane, trying to build another run to take over that top spot. We got trouble. Caution on the speedway yet again. Big time wreck as Michael Thornton piles in after the fact. Ben Smith getting the brunt of it. Juan Linares involved as well. Caution number 2 on the speedway, and the money goes out the window again. Michael Thorne, a big impact. Mechanical black flag for the 14 machine. So this should give us enough fuel to go to the end. Well, let's see what happened here just a moment ago. Ben Smith. Back this up a little bit further here. Try and zoom in a bit. You see Buckaloo and Pulte there to the top side. And another case of pushing the pusher. Now it gets Ben Smith kind of off center. Janikowski there gets to the outside. I don't know if Ben was trying to come back up, but either way, he gets hooked. Darren Jones gets a piece. Aranchak gets a little bit as well. Not a lot, but enough. Now, my concern with Michael Thorne here is it appears, I'm going to back this up further and go full speed, but it appears he zigged instead of hitting the brakes. Only advice I'll give there is get on the brakes. The slower things happen, the more time you have to make adjustments. Watch this from his on board. So pit lane open, last stops of the night, more than likely. Johnny D, the leader, coming down. It's going to be fuel only for Johnny again. He'll lead the pits, but not first. It looked like Hanneman beat him out. So our second caution of the night, lap 51 of 75 scheduled. Leader is now Raymond Hanneman. We've had 2 cautions for 5 laps to this point and 10 lead changes thus far. So with these caution laps, we're going to get the 1 to go the next time by. That's going to put us right at the very edge of the fuel window at the checkered flag. So does that put somebody in a position here at the front of the field to be concerned about fuel? Raymond Hanneman winning the race off of pit road over Johnny DePasquale. Do you force the 85 to lead this final, let's call it a segment, because that's really what it's going to translate down into? You force him to stay out front, burn as much fuel as you possibly can, kind of push him into a situation where there either needs to lift and let those guys go by, or chance it, gamble a little bit and see if it'll make it to the end. But no, they're going to come down and top off. A lot of drivers not trusting the ability to make it all the way to the end, and a lot of them are going to come back down here on the 1 to go lap. They may actually have to keep the caution out an additional lap if that's the case, before these guys can get caught back up to the pace car. With enough of them on pit road, they may not. But Scott Stockel has stayed out on the racetrack, so it's to his benefit. He's gambling here, but if they keep the caution out additionally, that's going to kind of, I don't know if that's going to help or hurt Stock. It could still help him, really, because it gives him an extra lap under yellow to save some fuel. But if the caution were to stay out and nobody pit, they all would have benefited the same way. So it kind of makes the pit stop a moot point. Lights on the pace car are still out. I think they're all going to get lined back up here in time. It's the benefit of this track being as big as it is. It takes almost 2 minutes plus, really, to get around here behind the pace car. Especially with that start-finish line being a little bit further down the road than it is at Daytona. Pace car heads to pit lane. You see everybody's single file on the inside. That's because they all pit coming to green, or not coming to green, coming to the 1 to go. We put Juan Linares now to the outside.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Potentially our final restart. Cross our fingers. 24 now. 23 laps to go. Got to hand it to race control, not extending that caution. Well played. Scott Stockel picking up the track position by staying out. I would think he's good to go to the end, though. Some of those guys went 26 laps. We're going to be 22 to go the next time by. Should be okay. Janikowski now the pole sitter. Back up into the top 3. Runs in the 2nd spot. Hanneman in 3rd. Linares 4th. Johnny D runs 5th. Didn't take long, about mid-pack, a little north of mid-pack. We're side by side already. Blake Hochschild, the lead car on the outside. Linares trying to think about which lane he wants to take and block. Linares stays to the inside. Outside continues to go. Poor choice. Should have gone to the top as Hochschild now working his way to the front to 2nd. Almost to 1st as they work through turns 3 and 4. Looking for the race lead. Hochschild with the top spot with Buckaloo in tow now. Jason Blaney is 3rd. Stockel back to 4th, and Moore is 5th. And they're side by side into turn number 1. Business has picked up here with 21 laps to go. Now it seems the outside lane's going to have to reorganize. On a line. Blaney hoping that Brandon Moore is going to pick him up here in the draft. They'll have a run. Blake Hochschild continues to lead. Buckaloo has had a very strong race. From worst to 1st, but now runs 2nd. In the tire tracks of Blake Hochschild with 20 to go. Outside lane led by Jason Blaney. Brandon Moore pushing. This is going to get all sorts of interesting, and we're 3 wide further back. Kerwin Marshall was the meat in the sandwich. Big gaggle of cars. Jackson West was up in the 3 wide in the middle. Matt Sisler trying to work his way through as well. Sisler quite a ways back, still back in the 22nd spot. Big run on the bottom. Outside lane slowed considerably. I don't know if somebody had to jump on the brakes. Oh, contact with Kerwin Marshall. I think that's Chris Pieria too. Ben Smith gets a piece of it. They all keep it straight. Austin Boyum in the 54, changing lanes a little bit as well. Also keeps things gathered up. Oh yeah, it's go time for sure. Big time pushes, and the domino effect working its way back as Matt Sisler works his way forward. He's up to 16th. Carson Youngblood into the top 10. Haven't spoke much about him tonight. But now when it's getting down to payday, it's time to go. Meanwhile, Jason Blaney has taken the race lead away from Blake Hochschild. Buckaloo changes lanes, goes to the top in front of Brandon Moore. He wants to win this race more than anything, to go from worst to 1st. It does not happen very often, but it can. Buckaloo's proving that it's possible as he gets a nose out in front off turn 4 as they head through the tri-oval. Buckaloo back to the point. Brandon Moore and Raymond Hanneman pushing all together. They got to be careful here. So easy just to get crossed up and turn the guy, but Blaney battling back on the bottom as Brandon Moore changes lanes. Hanneman goes with him. Now Brandon Moore looking for the race lead. takes the spot down the back straightaway. They're going to drag race into turn number 3. Colt Ansley jumping in the stream chat. Thanks for checking in, Colt. And once again, coming to 16 laps to go, the 3 car leads at Talladega. Top 4 drivers, all championship contenders. Pole sitter Janikowski now back to 9th. Jim Treat 12th. DePasquale is 13th. Matt Sisler now 14th. Wesley Jeanette 17th. Chris Pieria 22nd. Couple of takers in the way outside lane trying to get something started, but not enough help to go with them. He'll settle back into the middle lane. Now 2 lanes side by side. Derek Buckaloo is going to lead the outside. Inside seems to be dominant right now. The big push from Tommy Pulte to the back bumper, Derek Buckaloo. Buckaloo shown in 7th. They got to work together here and get something started. 14 to go. Time running out here at Talladega. Buckaloo decides to go back to the bottom in behind Tom Janikowski, but Pulte stays up top. Now with Carson Youngblood to the back bumper. Ken Lowry's been such a great pusher all night long. Jim Treat in tow as well. There's some potential there on the outside lane. Matt Sisler has worked his way up. Still shown in 15th, but if that outside lane starts to truck its way forward, those positions will get smaller and smaller numbered as they work their way forward. Back to the stripe. Moore leads it with 13 to go. Hanneman and Blaney, and then Blake Hochschild, the top 4. Hanneman all over the back bumper of Brandon Moore off turn number 2. Moore keeps it tucked down to the low side. Outside lane starting to come in. Tommy Pulte now sniffing the race lead with Brandon Moore on the bottom. Hanneman still pushing, but will it be enough? Carson Youngblood right there. Big time push from Ken Lowry. Oh, contact. Pulte goes around. And no caution. They straighten it out in time. We stay green. Oh, there it is. Oh, now into turn 3. We got a big wreck. Vincent Short not lucky enough to miss this one. Wesley Jeanette gets in it. Juan Linares, it appears. Chris Pieria and others. Ken Lowry. I think Jackson West, Derek Buckaloo. Oh, man. Heavy damage on the Carson Youngblood machine. Vincent Short, mechanical black flag as well. Yeah, not good when the left front's not spinning. think it all started with Pulte getting turned. We didn't catch a yellow there. He straightened it out in time. Let's see if we can go back and look at that first. Back it up a little further here. We'll just kind of watch this. But I think everybody's scattering because he was the lead car in the outside. Everybody scattered there to avoid the 26. But I think it set them up poorly for turn 3 at the time. So Pulte does a great job keeping it pinned against the wall, but here's what happens next. You see a lot of drivers there below the yellow line on the backstretch. In this case, they're just trying to avoid a wreck, but man, there's some guys, Buckaloo's 4 or 5 lanes down below the line. He's trying to get back up, but no room, just drives up into Janikowski. You got to be aware, there's drivers up there. So, of course, in turn, Janikowski clips the 35 of Lowry. Carson Youngblood's going to get a big piece. So is Jim Treat, Derek Buckaloo. Matt Sisler sneaks way on the bottom. DePasquale gets through barely. Darren Jones, a little bit of contact. Quite a bit of contact, it looks like, with Jeanette and Linares. Jackson West. Definitely the big one here at Talladega. So big wreck here late in the running. It's the field up 200 here at Talladega Super Speedway. Things certainly going to get interesting here. So we're less than 10 laps to go. Now don't forget, if things get real chaotic at the very end, we do have an attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Those drivers that took the opportunity to pit twice on that last caution, caution number 2, trying to build themselves a little bit of breathing room in the fuel tank, they might be just fine to make it to the finish if we have to go overtime here, but only one attempt. Does make it helpful as far as being able to plan, but now Brandon Moore, low side of the racetrack. This might just be a fuel save strategy here. The lower you go, the more fuel you're going to save. Also, when you're up on the banking and you're on light fuel, sometimes it gets difficult to get fuel to that pickup, which is in the right rear of the race car. Point being there, centrifugal force is going to push all that fuel to the right side of the race car. You get it down on the flat of the racetrack under yellow because you don't have as much speed to push it over there. At least it'll keep it running. I don't think we're that close to being that low right now, but you never know. Nevertheless, it is a shorter distance around the inside. Every foot helps. Pace car lights go out, so we're on the one to go. We'll be green flag racing at lap 67. lot of fueled up motorsports machines here at the front of the field, the front row. Brandon Moore, Raymond Hanneman, Jason Blaney there as well. Yeah, Johnny DePasquale back there in about the 7th spot. Nathan Line to his outside. A lot of fueled up motorsports machines. If they can get hooked up together, I know they all want to win this race for themselves, but they can also beat teammates here and make sure that a fueled up motorsports machine wins this race. Pace car heads to pit lane.
Ready, green flag.
Green back in the air. Field coming up to speed. Shadows getting long here in Talladega as well. No lights here on the Speedway. I think we'll be just fine. Brandon Moore gets away. Half car length back to Jason Blaney in second. Field out of turn number 2. And that first group really got away. Second pack, though, more numbers. They're going to run them back down. Third lane opening up. I don't think it was intentional. Car got out of shape, but somebody went with him anyway. I think that's John Kelly in the 25. Vincent Short now to the 9th position. No, still damaged on the 15, but he's in the draft. It won't hurt him right now. Blake Hochschild roots his way up the gut, looking for the race lead. They're 3 wide, 3-4 rows deep off turn number 2. Sisler pushing the 91 with everything he's got down the back straightaway. Moore just trying to hang on to the lead. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Kerwin Marshall losing connection for a moment ahead of Derek Buckaloo. Comes back. Moore maintains the lead. Connection issue for the 3 now. Coming to 6 laps to go. Still 3 wide from about mid-pack to the rear. Janikowski in that first lane. He was the meat in the sandwich. Now it's 2 wide there. Janikowski was the pole sitter, pushing everything he's got to the back bumper of Vincent Short down the back stretch again. Way up the racetrack. Hanneman kind of shuffled out here. Wesley Jeanette there in the picture as well. Wesley way up the racetrack in front of Hanneman. That was a close call. Just an inch to spare between bumpers with the 74 and the 85. They have fallen back considerably. Hanneman back to 20th. He was right up there on the restart. But no more. Speaking of more, Brandon Moore continues to lead with less than 5 to go. Ben Smith steps out of line. Derek Buckaloo goes up ahead of him. Buckaloo in 13th now, but the 3rd lane starting to move. Janikowski goes with him. Janikowski now leads the 3rd lane. Can that 3rd lane get it done on that far outside? Now Sisler moves up, adds another car to the mix. That's going to help. More energy, more cars. They got to get them tucked up, though. Janikowski knock another 4 wide off turn number 4. Vincent Short gets into him and Sisler goes around. Big time wreck now off turn number 4. Caution on the speedway. Buckaloo in the wall. Vincent Short around. Aranchak, Tommy Pulte. Darren Jones. Another big one here late. But lap 72 goes on the board. This may push us to overtime. Sisler with the nose caved in. Don't think it damaged the radiator, but man, it probably was pretty close. Let's take a look. Back this up a little bit further. I want to see how this unfolds. But yes, they were 4 wide. Short slides up the track, gets into Derek Buckaloo, which pushes him into Sisler. Jones gets turned. You got Jackson West, Aranchak, Hanneman's in it. Pulte's going to get a big chunk. 25 of John Kelly narrowly escaping. Wesley Jeanette. Michael Thorne going to the bottom. He gets around this mess. I don't think Vince believed they were 4 wide there. I think Buckaloo might have gotten through this a little better than we thought, maybe? Chris Pieria getting a piece of it. So, 4 cautions so far. Again, we'll take a look at our race recap. We are on lap 74. It says of 76. So, yes, we are going to go to our overtime, our green-white checkered attempt. Brandon Moore continues to lead. We've had 4 cautions for 11 laps and 15 lead changes to this point. That's 15 lead changes in 74 laps. Should get the 1 to go signal here in about a half a lap. So taking a look here at the lap count. Again, some of this has been under caution, so don't panic. 26 laps is the furthest we've seen anyone go on a tank of fuel. Again, that's probably going to change here in this final stint, but we've had some caution laps to help add to that fuel strategy, that fuel mileage. Race leader Brandon Moore is going to come to the line here in a minute. He'll put 23 laps on this stint. It'll be the 1 to go. So he's going to have to go a couple of more. No pun intended. But this is our only attempt. Only 1 try here at the green-white checkered finish. We'll call it ZeroX Strategy Series Overtime. And I will say, it's a good thing we don't have 3 attempts because it is starting to get dark here in Talladega. Looks a lot brighter than it really is. cameras have such wide apertures, it makes it look a lot brighter than reality would dictate. Either way, we're going to settle this one here in just a couple of laps. Front row will be Brandon Moore and Jason Blaney, two Fueled Up Motorsports drivers. Scott Stockel in the 5. He runs in 3rd. Johnny DePasquale in 4th. And Nathan Line 5th. So it looks like 4 out of the top 5 all on the same team. And it's Blake Hochschild, Kerwin Marshall, Jim Treat, Tommy Janikowski. Derek Buckaloo's still in this. He was involved in that caution, but I don't think that car sustained a lot of damage. He should be just fine. Pace car heads to pit lane for a final time here from Talladega Super Speedway. The field up 200, about to get settled here.
Green flag.
Kerwin Marshall loses connection for a moment. Everything okay, though. Moore gets away about a car length ahead of Scott Stockel. The outside lane's still grouped up, though. Blaney may have a run here off of turn number 2 if Moore's not careful, but no, they get away pretty clean. Drop down to the inside. Nathan Lyon almost runs over DePasquale. Wants to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Moore with the lead off turn number 2. Lap and a half remains as Jason Blaney works to the outside lane. Blaney getting a big push from teammate Johnny DePasquale. May have the lead. He does. He's got him clear. So does DePasquale into turns 3 and 4. Nathan Lyon's going to try and go with him. The 3-way behind, and Lyon goes around. Big time hit for Blake Hochschild. Caution on the Speedway, and that's going to do it.
Guys, just quickly, just remember. Nice smooth.
Jason Blaney is going to drive this across the start-finish line, and he will take the victory as long as he doesn't run out of gas under yellow. Our 5th caution of the night. This would have been the white flag, so the next time by, as long as Blaney maintains the top spot, as Ben Smith drives around. Smith's going to check up here. Let Blaney get back to his rightful position. Cole Ansley says, also remind me never to put the 15 on a lottery ticket. Oh, jeez. Well, you saw it live, folks. We were not able to get this one to finish under green flag, but Jason Blaney just impatiently waiting for the next half lap to complete so he can pick up this victory. If it runs how it stands right now, it'll be Blaney, DePasquale, and Jim Treat, 3 championship contenders taking over the top 3 spots here at Talladega Superspeedway. Jason Blaney has led 3 laps tonight, started 17th. When he crosses the line, it'll be 4 laps led, and it'll be the last lap of the race. Across the line, Blaney will do it. Jason Blaney, the number 22 admin box. Ford Mustang will pick up the win here at Talladega. Jim Treat will come in and give a little congratulations tap at the back. Strong run here tonight for our championship contenders. I wasn't kidding, folks. It's getting dark here. It's a good thing this one wrapped up when it did. Very happy Jason Blaney. It doesn't matter how you win them, as long as you win them. Caution or green flag, Jason Blaney is going to pick it up here at Talladega Super Speedway, taking home the Fueled Up 200 with Fueled Up on the hood. William Marshall says, great run by the 4. Kerwin Marshall coming home in P4. With that, we're going to step aside, get our last break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. Back at Talladega Super Speedway, the Fueled Up 200 in the books. And Fueled Up driver Jason Blaney takes it to victory lane. Well, it wasn't a caution-free race, but only 4 yellows. We'll take it. Take a look at the race recap before we get too deep into the interview portion of things. Well, we were going to try to do that, but it's not going to work. So we'll go right to interviews. Jason Blaney, our race winner, will pull him up into the broadcast booth. Jason, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
What's going on, Steve?
Jason, congratulations, man. A job well done. Only 4 laps led here tonight. Impressive, but you led the ones that mattered, specifically that final lap. A green-white checkered attempt. You had plenty of fuel. That last caution that had come out, a lot of the drivers made 2 stops on that last one, trying to maybe gamble a little bit. Not so much gamble, but get some insurance to make sure that if we got to a green-white checkered, you had enough for the end. Was it even a question at that point? Did you have fuel, or are you just trying to buy some insurance as we talked about?
No, I had the fuel. I was leading a little bit earlier in the run, towards the later part of the race, and then once I got past, I started saving, so that saved me about a lap and a half, and then obviously the caution came out, and after that, what was it, second to last caution, I knew I was good until the end, so it was smooth sailing, full throttle for me, just trying to be in the right spot in the right time, and I guess it happened.
We kind of expected those that were leading for an extended period of time. We're going to probably lose about 2 laps of fuel over the course of a run. Derek Buckaloo led a bunch of laps early on, but it didn't seem to hurt him too terribly much. He still went, I think, 25 laps on a full tank. Was it a big concern in your mind, or is that something you had prepped for over the course of the week?
No, it was definitely a concern for me because I was leading the race, and I honestly, you never want to not lead, but in that moment, I was like, get me out of here, because I was 3 or 3.5 good starting the restart, and then once I got put in the lead, it slowly dropped down to like 0.8, and I thought throughout the rest of the run, I probably would have been short. So it definitely goes away quick when you start pressing the throttle a little bit harder.
Made some crazy moves there at the end, and that green-white checker to make sure you secured the victory here tonight. You did so. Fueled up win and a fueled up race here at Talladega Super Speedway, man. What was going through your mind in those closing laps?
Honestly, I mean, with being the team owner, it's a lot of times I have to be selfless. So I saw that we had the first 4 or 5 cars on that final restart. In my head, I was just like, just let a fueled up car get to victory lane. I don't really care who it is. We thought about controlling both lanes on the restart, and we sort of did until the outside line didn't go, and then had to take that last second run. But we were just really planning on just trying to control both lanes, and then if anyone did make a run, make it the 3rd lane so that they really have to try hard. I figured if we were all in the bottom lane just stacked up, we basically would put anyone else on offense, and that was the main goal of like, hey guys, let's take care of each other. Let's not give too hard of bumps to cause a huge wreck, but let's fill up this racetrack, and it ended up happening. I mean, I know a big wreck happened behind us, but at the end of the day, I guess the strategies worked in the end. So,
well, fueled up 1-2 finish here at Talladega Super Speedway. Now we make some right turns coming up to Watkins Glen International next week. Of course, we're going to be on a tape delay, but that doesn't change the strategy side of things. How does your fueled up motorsports team run on those road courses?
I know we got some heavy hitters, that's for sure. I would say I'm myself, but I'm going to be chugging from the back on the EOL penalty of the road course, so we'll see how that goes. But no, there's quite a few people on the team that I feel like could put down some good laps and run consistently. So we'll just have to wait and see if everything goes right. I'm really surprised and ready to see kind of who else in the league can put down some fire laps there too, because I love a good road course racing, man.
Well, Jason, a job well done here tonight at the Super Speedway. Really changing up disciplines next week, but it's all about Dega tonight. Who do you have to thank for this win tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank everyone at Fueled Up Motorsports, the Fueled Up win, the Fueled Up race. Big shout out to Johnny with that shake and bake bump to the end, man. He's always right there finishing 1 and 2 with me. I swear I'm going to owe him probably 15 over someday, because he's given me some really good bumps to end up in wins this year. So definitely him for sure. New HD Media, Clark Heating and Cooling, Admin Box, Action Sports Canopies, Factory FX, Dubby, you of course in the booth, Steve, for doing your amazing work, and then every single thing that Dustin does week in and week out to put this league on. I really want him to understand that it's not unnoticed, and we appreciate everything he does, even though that's a lot of weight on him. But big shout out to him as well.
Yeah, Dustin is a rock star league owner. I've done enough of these over the course of the last 5 years to know the difference. There's the top 3, and he's absolutely in them. So either way, Jason, congratulations, man. Job well done here tonight. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in the Glen.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks.
Jason Blaney, your race winner here at Talladega Super Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to his Fueled Up Motorsports teammate, Johnny D. Pasquale. We'll pull him up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our runner-up. Johnny, it's Steve with Track Limits. You there?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Johnny, congratulations, man. I don't know what to say, man. A second-place start, second-place finish. I guess you really can't complain about it. I know you probably wanted that win, but at the end of the day, I guess the next best thing is a teammate picking up the win in the Fueled Up Motorsports sponsored race. Walk us through your night. Obviously, you had an issue early there. You stuffed that thing into the safer barrier pretty hard early on. Thankfully, we had a fast repair, and you were able to take full advantage, go out there with no safety net after the fact, and drive this thing to a second-place finish. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm against or for having the fast repair in these races, but for tonight, I'm 100%, for it. It absolutely saved my race having that fast repair. I don't even really know what happened. We were just kind of pushing, and I think someone got a bad push behind me and kind of got loose, and I thought I had it saved, and then all of a sudden I was spinning. So yeah, really nice to have the fast repair, because with these races, it's so circumstantial. You're so close running around everybody that it's nice that if on lap 5, if the big one were to happen, you don't all of a sudden have like a 9-car group out there running. So yeah, it was nice to be able to come down and get our car fixed, and kind of restarted in the back, and kind of was on the bottom, and I was just stuck on the bottom. I didn't really feel like the bottom was going to be the place to go. It felt like the stack-ups were just so bad, but everyone on top kept on trying to make it 3 wide and side drafting so hard that they kept on getting really unorganized, and the bottom kept staying organized, and was able to get back up there. And then, yeah, man, I really hate that the caution came out there at the end. It would have been nice to be able to race it back to the line, but really happy for Jason. Yeah, I mean, if I can't win, it's always nice to, to push a fueled up guy to the win. So yeah, really happy for him.
A fueled up 1-2. We talked about that with Jason Blaney, but we talked about the Glen a little bit. Of course, that's the next race on the schedule for the ZeroX Strategy Series. He said there's some guys out there in fueled up that run pretty well on the road courses. Who exactly is the road course ringer amongst the fueled up motorsports stables?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not me. I'll tell you that right now. So I'll be running back in probably 9th or 10th, hopefully battling for a top 10. I was pretty fast yesterday. We ran some practice laps yesterday, and I was pretty quick, but I can run 1 or 2 laps like that, and then I end up in the sand pit. So I just, it's going to be, Ray is really fast, Brandon's really fast, Jason's really fast, Nathan's really fast. I mean, they're all fast. It's nice to have a bunch of teammates like this that are so quick, because you can't show up and just lollygag, because they're gonna just leave you in the dust. So you gotta bring your A game every week. So yeah, I love being a part of Fueled Up. It's gonna be a lot of fun making some right turns next week for sure.
Certainly looking forward to it, Johnny. Congratulations on a runner-up finish here at Talladega Super Speedway. Who do you want to shout out to before we kick you out of here?
Thank you, Steve, and everybody over at Track Limits. You guys just are unbelievable, and we're so fortunate to have you guys here every week for us. Everybody at ZeroX, Dustin, we love this league. I was talking to everybody in the chat earlier. We look forward to this so much every single week, and I know it's a lot. It's a lot to put these races on, but we really appreciate it, Dustin, and this means a lot to a lot of us. So thank you to him, everybody at Fueled Up, all the sponsors, Admin Box, Clark Heating and Cooling, New HD Media, Action Sports Canopies, Factory FX. I got to thank Nathan Line. He gave me the push there at the end that ended up giving me the push to Jason. So I got to thank him, and all my friends and family for watching, my wife that cheers me on every week, and yeah, looking forward to next week.
All right, Johnny. Well, thank you for the kind words, man. Really do appreciate that. A fun lead to cover for us, certainly, and you guys really do make it easy. Thanks for talking to us. Congrats again. Good luck next week at the Glen.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Johnny DePasquale, your runner-up here at Talladega Super Speedway. Next up, Jim Treat. Started 16th, finishes in P3. We'll get a word of the driver of the 367, if I can find him here. There we go. Jim Treat, it's Steve with Track Limits Network. You got us?
Yes, I got you.
Jim, congratulations, man. 16th to 3rd We didn't really see much of you at all tonight up until the very end when it matters. What was the strategy coming into tonight? Was it just a matter of just take care of the race car until it was time to go?
Well, the first part of the race, we wanted to save as much fuel as we could to try to, obviously there's other teams here, so we were trying to stay out a lap to two laps further than other teams, and then come back out with a good pit and come back out in the lead. And it almost worked out there, but I think we were a little shaky on the green flag pit stop there. Some of us got loose, some of us were just slower in the box and out of the box. But it would have worked out if we would have came out in the lead there if that was cleaned up. But it happens. It's definitely Talladega and pitting under 90 mile an hour. So.
Well, Jim, it was certainly an impressive run here tonight. Obviously, took care of the race car. I don't think you had to use a fast repair at all this evening, so that's a win column mark for you, certainly. Next week, though, Watkins Glen International. We're going to go road racing lefts and rights out on the road course in the southern tier of New York State. How do you perform on the road courses?
I really like Watkins Glen. I'm going to say I'm fast just to make myself feel better. I don't know, compared to everybody else we're going to see. So, but I think the new horsepower is in the cars for that package now, which I tested quite a bit of it lately, and it is absolutely a blast to drive. The gearing makes sense now. But yeah, I'm definitely actually kind of looking forward to that. Weird to say, but yeah, definitely feel pretty confident in a good finish there.
Well, it's certainly one of my favorite places. As you may have known, I'm only an hour and 15 minutes from that place. It's my home track, if anybody cares. But I'm excited to call it, even if it is on a tape-delayed broadcast. We wish you guys the best of luck there. Top finisher for ZeroX Motorsports here tonight, so maybe you can do more of the same out at Watkins Glen. Third place finish tonight at Dega. Who do you want to thank for it?
I want to thank, obviously, ZeroX Media and Design. All my teammates, man, we all worked real well together there. Strategy was great. Just some bad luck there, but all of us coming together to run this league every week, and absolutely love it. And Dustin for putting on this league and going through all the points, all the trouble he goes through, all the the pains, but otherwise. And then Precision Speed Solutions, Precision Setups.gg for my open setups that I run each week, and my beautiful baby mama. And I'm excited that I finally got pulled in the booth with you again. Since this Daytona, I think.
All right, Jim. Well, again,
been trying, man. I've been trying.
Congratulations, man. Third place, well earned. Wish you the best of luck there at Watkins Glen next week. Thanks for talking to us. Have a good night, man.
Later.
Jim Treat, third place finisher here at Talladega Super Speedway. That'll do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look at our race results. We've already talked to Jason Blaney, Johnny DePasquale, and Jim Treat. Fourth in the running order, Kerwin Marshall. Drove it up quite a ways. Started 20th, finished in the top 5 in that fourth position. A strong run for the 4 machine. Fear the 4. Scott Stockel finishes in the 5th spot. 6th place went to Brandon Moore. 7th, Nathan Line. Jason Aranchak was 8th. Austin Boyum, surprise top 10 finish. And I say surprised because he was pretty deep in the field earlier on in this race. Stuck with it and drove it up into a top 10 in the 9th position. Raymond Hanneman, even after a crash, finishes in the 10th spot. Darren Jones was 11th. Matt Sisler was that back marker all race long, just trying to take care of it, stay out of the mess, and drove it to 12th place. I guess it's a solid points night for the 31. We'll see if we can carry that on into Watkins Glen. Keep an eye on that 31 at the Glen next week. He is a road racing ace. We see him perform quite well, not just in these types of cars, but GT cars, you name it. He loves those road races. We'll see if Sisler can maybe pick up yet another win on the season. Michael Thorne, after one issue early, used the fast repair, got back out there, finishes 13th. John Kelly, relative newcomer, finishes 14th. Tom Janikowski, the pole sitter, 15th. Probably not happy about it, but still finished this race. Ben Smith, 16th. Wesley Jeanette, 17th. We've seen, man, a lot of potential out of the 74 this year. He's been up near the front a lot of times. We saw it even tonight, but not the finish he expected this evening. Tommy Pulte was up near the front as well. He finishes 18th. Jackson West was 19th. 20th place was Derek Buckaloo. Man, he led a ton of laps early. Tough finish for the number 81 machine. Blake Hochschild was 21st. Carson Youngblood, 22nd. Juan Linares finishes 23rd. Chris Pierio, 24th. Vincent Short, a super speedway ace. Tough finish for the 15 Track Bar Motorsports driver. He'll finish 25th. Ken Lowry was 26th, and Scott Ford, well, don't worry about him. He was up in the tower calling the race. So that's your results here. Season 3, the Fueled Up 200 from Talladega Super Speedway. That'll do it for us. Congratulations again to Jason Blaney picking up the race win. Again, I want you guys to remember, we have a tape-delayed broadcast this week, and there's probably going to, I think there's a second tape delay coming after. I'm going on vacation, which is great. Everybody needs those, but 12 hours after I get back from vacation, I got to drive to, I think, Maryland for a week, and I won't be back until the following Friday, so you're going to have another tape-delayed broadcast. We'll get that handled as soon as possible. That will be, I want to say, Darlington. I'll double check, but we'll keep everything posted. We'll try to get that stuff scheduled out. I think it's already scheduled, so if you're not already following Track Limits Network, make sure you do such a thing. Like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications, so if anything changes on that particular page on YouTube, you're aware of it, and you don't miss a moment of the action here in the ZeroX Strategy Series. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching, everybody. Congrats again to Jason Blaney and Fueled Up Motorsports for the Fueled Up 200 here at Talladega Super Speedway. We'll see y'all next week at the Glen.